Hey, how's it going? Jason here, and in this episode I'm going to be doing a follow-up on one of my previous videos where I demonstrated how to wire a bonsai branch. I got a few comments and questions about how that tree looks today, so let's go take a look at it now. Alright, so here I've got the tree. Let's go position it to exactly where it was last time we did the video on that, where I was demonstrating how to wire it. So this was the pad right here that we wired. Let me reposition the camera here so we can see that a little bit better. Alright, so as you can see, it developed really well. When we first did it, hold on, let me take off this one right here. This one we don't need. Let me cut this guy off really quick. Okay, so that guy was growing down, so I just cut it really quick. So you can kind of see that the pad developed really nice. Originally in that previous video, what we did was wire the main branch, and that's covering, that's coming around right here. And then we wired some secondaries just to start the pad off. And what happened is that as the tree, I think it's been over a year now. As the tree developed, it started to grow on the top here. So all the foliage, all the sun was hitting down right in this area, and it was causing all this foliage here to grow. And now we've got a decent pad. So if we take a look at a side view, you can kind of see that it looks pretty full, looks nice and developed, and it came together really nice. So one additional thing I did, because when I did the video originally, was when I did this pad, I brought it down a little bit, but I wasn't really happy with how far down it came. So what I did was I put some guy wire. I hope you can see it right there. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit or reposition the camera. Alright, so I repositioned the camera a little bit, but here's the guy wire I'm talking about right here. I wanted to bring this branch down a little bit further, the primary branch. So what I did was I put that guy wire arm right there, twisted it up, and brought it down a little bit. And you can see how I did that in a previous video. Just look up how to, I think it's called how to use guy wire. Look that up, and that's kind of a good way of bringing down, say, like kind of a stubborn branch. You can bring that down a little bit more. Okay, so then basically after that, I applied the same techniques I did for this branch to the next branch, and then developed this pad right here. And then this one I wanted it kind of further down too, so that's why you see this guy wire down here as well. So I used the thicker wire to sort of, here, let me twist this a little bit so you can see it. So I used the thicker wire there to try to bring that branch down as far as possible. And then since it still wouldn't come down, I used the guy wire right here, anchored it to one of the stronger roots down here, brought it down and into the spot that I wanted it to go. And then just slowly, I went up, from the bottom layer, second layer, then went up to this layer and did the same thing. Just wired the primary branch, wired the secondaries, and then, and let this develop. So then I've got another pad there. So then I start here, went to this one, then I went to this one, then I went to this one on the side, and then eventually I wired the apex over here. And that's pretty much it. I applied the same techniques that I did on this branch right here, and just did it to all the pads. And then over time, after it sets, after the foliage starts to develop, the tree kind of fills out and starts to actually look like a nice bonsai. Some of you guys are probably trying to figure out why it's like tilted like this. Let me zoom out a little bit. Yeah, you can kind of see that the tree is tilted up, on its side. If I were to put it flat, like in the pot as it stands, then it looked kind of like that. So the reason that we're doing that, and the reason why you kind of see this at a lot of bonsai nurseries, is that when you got it in the grower's can, you want to sort of, and they're styling it, you want to position in that spot that is the front and at the angle that you want. So typically you use little blocks like these guys, these little wooden blocks, and these are just cut up 2x4s. If you've got like a saw, or whatever, you can just cut those up. And then you kind of wedge those underneath, and that just kind of holds the grower's can at an angle. And then as you're working on it, you can work on it at the angle where it's going to be in the, that's the angle that you're actually going to pot it in the end. And that way you can style it completely, let it rest a bit, and then after it rests a bit, then you can put it into a pot. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to pot it really quick. I'll bring it in stages, but there's a video on how to sort of repot your bonsai on one of my previous videos, and it's basically the same technique. So I'm going to go ahead and do that to this tree really quick, and then bring it right back out. Alright, so I brought the tree out there. I'm starting to break down the roots and break down the soil. So this is sort of the pot that I decided to go with it. It's a nice rectangular pot. I think it's going to give it some nice power once I pot it. Alright, so let me, I'll show you some steps of the repotting. I'm not going to go into the full detail like in my previous video, but I'll show you the steps as I'm going. Here's sort of the root ball mass after I remove the grower's can that I've got to get through. So I've got to fit this into this pot. So there's going to be quite a lot of roots that I got to remove and quite a lot of soil. Alright, so I've got this down quite a lot, but I still need to go more. Just to let you guys know, basically I'm removing all the soil. I'm using this little root hook here. Another good tool to use is if you have like a bamboo chopstick or something like that, or just a giant one. But this is a pretty good tool to use. Alright, so I got a good amount of soil off. I'm going to start cutting some roots, and for that, I've got my root cutter. My root cutter right here. This dude. And then I've got some cheap shears here, or some cheaper shears for cutting the roots near the soil. You know, you don't want to use your good shears for that, you might damage them. So it's good to have a pair of handy shears to sort of go in and trim some of these roots. So I'm going to do some right now. It's good to know the species you're working with, because then you'll know how it'll respond to heavy root pruning. This is a Juniper prostrata. So I could cut most of this taproot off and it's still going to survive. On other trees, you're going to have to watch out. But for something like this, it's not going to be an issue. Right now I'm cutting some of these feeder roots here and some of the rotten roots. The rotten roots are all brown and mushy. But when you do this, what it's going to do is here, I got a big taproot right here. That's going to kind of cause me some trouble when I'm repotting it. So I'm going to snip that down a little bit. What does this do? It wasn't that big. Okay, so we do this so that these feeder roots here, once they're freshly cut, it'll actually start to grow again, and then that's actually what we want, because we want those feeder roots to start spreading out in the new pot. Okay, so I'm going to remove a little bit more soil here. I'll be right back. Okay, so I cleaned that up a bit right there. The base, so now it's clean. I'm going to position the pot. This guy right here, he's going to kind of sit right in there. It looks like I might need to remove a little bit more, just a little bit more, but not much. So let me bring it outside. I'll be right back. Okay, remove a little bit more soil, but I think I'm kind of liking how this looks. So I'm going to go prepare the pot really quick with the drainage screens, and then I'll show you what that looks like after it's done. Okay, so I've prepped the pot, put the screens in, put the wire in. I'm going to put a little base layer of soil really quick, and then we're going to start wiring the tree in. So all I'm doing right now is tying in the roots. And when you're doing this, just tie it in the back so you can't see it. You tie it in the front, then every time you look at the front of the tree, you'll see the wire. Okay, I'm going to take a step back, make sure I got this in the right spot. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I'm going to put the rest of the soil here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit at a time, because I want to find the air pockets first, and then I'll top it off. So I'm going to go in there and look for air pockets really quick. Alright, so I've got this all potted up. I've got to water it. But before I do that, I'll explain a few things. Okay, so the soil mix that I used is the Akadama soil mix that I spoke of in my previous video. And then, you know, I wired down the roots. I used the chopsticks or the bamboo stick, and you know, my little repotting stick here to sort of find all the air pockets in here. And then I left, you know, I didn't fill the soil all the way up to the top here. That way when I water it, it won't just run off the top. So it kind of creates a spot there for the water to sit. The guy wire, once this is set, I'll remove it. And then even this wire that's holding the tree in the pot, since this is a small tree in this bigger pot, could probably also get cut later on, but don't need to do that. You don't need to do that unless you really have to. And then cut off the surface roots here so I can develop a nice root base. So then after that, I've got a nice bonsai repotted. I know I skipped over a lot of details about repotting and sort of guide wire and the wiring in general. You can sort of get the details on those from my previous videos, but in this video I just wanted to sort of go over the, sort of the follow-up on how the tree looked then and sort of how it looks now. Sort of one of the things I like about this tree is sort of the size. It's really easy to carry, it's kind of portable. And you don't always need, sometimes you see those pictures of those awesome show trees that are just monstrous and sometimes take 2 people to carry. And it's great to have those trees, but sometimes it's nice to know that, at home you can still do a nice looking bonsai with just basic material and some basic techniques. Having said that, I've also got, some requests on how to style a bigger tree, and which I'll probably do in a future video. I've got one of the big trees and some people asked me to do a time lapse on it, so I will do that. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. Give me a like if you thought it was helpful, and then subscribe if you'd like to see some more. Thanks for watching.